us do assemble the equipment, but I think we don't have a standard in terms of how we put screws, because then the majority of the equipment we make is joined by screws, and we use drills, and each hand is different. My muscles may be strong or stronger than yours, or even weaker. So in that, it makes a difference in the quality of or the outcome of how the screw is put in. So I want us to go through how to use the different kinds of drills we have. These are there's more, but they are basically all represented here. And this training is going to be very practical. So each one is going to take a take on what they think a screw should be put, or how it should be put. So any volunteers, anyone who wants to start to show us how to put a screw in the wood. So if you get a drill from there, so assume that this is on where the drills are, and then you start your process.
As you know, we have a different wood. Sometimes other wood is hard, you can't screw direct. Before you use different drill bits. There is 2, or maybe we start 1.1, 1.5, or until to 4, but almost we use 3mm or 3.5. Then just take your drill. Then the other ones now for the side, for the standing frame, is coming with the hose, but we figure out other hose for CNC is very big. When you put these ones, it's just turning around, but you must know the size we. Next time I think we want to talk about that on the meeting also about this rules, because it's coming with different sizes. Bramo, I think you can say yes or no. Okay.
Don't use that.
Okay, the wood sometimes it's hard. The beige wood, you can put it as small, because other people you can just put it through like that. The way you putting through like this is very difficult. This screw maybe the way you put your screws is called the screw to spin, because you already go through. Yeah, but if you make it a little bit half like this, and you can just take your drill bit. Also, you must mention, the different drill bits, the size for the drill bits. But there is the, I don't know, PZ or 1P, or something like that.
So how do you tell? How do you tell which one is right?
I mean, I can see with my eyes.
Yeah, but it's my first time here, I don't know. How do I know? You taste it, I've been just at start, yeah, how does he know?
You can test it with this one where you see it's the right size, but me I can, you see, when you see this, it's different size, see?
It hasn't got a tight fit.
This one you can fit it, see? That is the way I test it. Thank you for watching. Correct me in that way. Then also there is different, this one is wrong, you can't go here. Thank you, Ravishi. I just take one, and then you can take this, see it is the right one, put it.
Don't drain the pine. I want it separate.
Okay. Way, but I think also is not the right one. I use it because I see it. You see, it's supposed to be flat. You see the way it is, which means it's not the right.
So that's not the right thing.
Yeah, you see, it's too big.
It's too big, eh?
No, the pot is
Yes,
it's too small. Actually, it doesn't go in properly.
Yes,
with the screw head.
Okay, see, that's why it's
That
an
is the-
important question: is which one do you use? Because it will strip the screw.
That is you must be very careful, like Ravish said, this screws is not coming with exactly the size we use it long before, long time is changing, and when you look this 25 and this 25, you can see the difference. Yeah?
Oh, you mean like the head size?
Yes, and the thickness you can see.
Okay, the thickness of the screw is
Yes.
different. The thread is different.
Then maybe it can affect also,
The head.
yes, for the bolts, I don't know.
So we need to understand, how do we know it's the right fit? Because that means every time you have to do it, you have to check it. So
So, all right, thanks, madam. Anyone wants to give it a try?
I think what Mandela did is okay, but the only thing also, if you want to pre-drill, you also need to consider the size of the drill, because you cannot just use this drill even when you are using 3x6, like if it is small.
Yes, I say that.
Oh, you say that?
Yes, I think there is a
two sizes.
two sizes or may and two before.
No, I think
So that drill has to be smaller than the thread of the screw.
So, anybody?
I just want to add, I think most of the things Madala did here, but I will add on the poses that we use. I think mostly here we use the pose that is written PZ2,
Yes, is it?
This one.
which is this one.
So it says with PZ2.
This is PZ2.
Okay.
These are
No, don't. So everybody is aware of the drill bit, the ports we're using.
That was my first time actually knowing.
So here's how you tell what head port you use in a screw. If you look at the head of the screw, we call it a star because of the corners it has. So if you see, there are these obvious ones where then the potty goes in, like that. And then just between them, there is those small lines. So those lines already tell you, because the potty is also the same. So the potty that goes into this head is the same as what is in here. But if you look at the one we have been always using, this one doesn't have that. So what it tells you is it's not fit for this hole. What it will do is if you put in and you turn, once it goes deep enough in the wood, it will just keep skipping. And then you'll end up chewing it here. You won't know what happens. It will keep going and not push the screw. And then you leave the screw sitting in a way that it shouldn't be. Cool. So we are all agreeing that we're using the 2PZ potty. Then one important thing. So the CNC pre-drills for us the holes. Like that. I'm doing this because I don't want to mess this board here. Otherwise, when you do pre-drilling, you have to have a support underneath, or else you'll get it like this. It will have all of this. So don't learn that. I'm just avoiding to damage that board. So as we all know that if you're gonna do a pre-drill, you'll have to have a board that's not important or anything underneath, and drill from it so that it doesn't cause these on the board. So the CNC pre-drills them like this, so they are all through. There is a reason for that as well. So this is your slider. And you're gonna put this board here. Then the other important thing about screws is that the shaft is a very crucial part of the screw. Some of the screws we have, for example, these ones, don't have a shaft. And what you will get with these is if you have a pre-drilled board like this and it goes in, it will just spin but will never grip. But the one with the shaft, that shaft will sit on this board, but then the thread will sit on the wood that you are mounting the board onto. So that's very important.
So it provides more grip.
Yeah. So it will grip. It will not just spin. This would spin, and that is why we have a problem with the 20s on the sliders. They always spin because there's already a pre-drilled board, and they don't have a sufficient grouping space. So that's important to note. And then the other important thing to note, sorry, I wanted to say on the end, it's not wrong to have a pre-drilled board, but you also need to be mindful what kind of screw you use, whether it has a shaft or it has a thread all the way through. And again, what you guys noted about the size of the drill bit, if the screw is thinner than what you drill the hole with, then obviously there's no grip surface there. It will just rotate. That also could be a problem, not just the shaft. But then the drill sets and the acceptable drill bit for how you push the screw into the hole. Where's the extension? Then I use a basic one. Hopefully there's ratings. So okay, so all the drills have settings on them. It has one for a drill bit, which is this one, which doesn't have a torque. So it's set, it just goes, it won't stop. But for screws, you need one that's gonna torque it, but not push it all the way in through. So there's numbers from 20, this one has the highest 20. Now, a screw won't go deeper than that. Once it gets here, you do this, then you know you're done. It's a very important set on your drill. That then you know all my screws are going to be the same depth on the wood. You won't get screws that are deeper into the wood. Some are on the board, it's just sitting, which then deteriorates the quality. Let's put this one on.
So, Vuyani, a question is there a specific torque setting for the wood? In other words, pine would be a 10, birch would be a 20, or like that?
That's what I want us to get to. The tricky thing with pine is that some of it is soft, some of it is a bit harder.
Okay.
So it just has to come to a thing of knowing that what's the acceptable screw depth? Do I have to sink it that it goes in that deep in the wood, or it should sit flush to the wood? Then that would determine how you set your drill to push the screw based on that wood you're using. Some of the pine is very hard, so maybe a 15 might not work, but a 20. So I just want to get to the acceptable. Put it there.
At what setting are you now?
I'm on 10.
Okay.
So that's 10. So that's 10. Then we'll go 15. Okay. We'll go 5. Okay, you see the difference?
Depends on your muscles now.
So the one that went deeper is 15. The one that's sitting flush is 10. The one that's sitting the head a little bit above is 5. So which one is acceptable out of the 3?
10.
For sure, 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are all agreeing on 10. Okay, so the important thing then is to then understand what wood you're using. So for example, the standing frame uses pine as the sliders or uprights, but uses birch to mount them on.
Yes.
Again, it will be different. How? The birch is harder than the pine. Now, the screw grips on the pine, but not on the birch, but it needs to sink into the birch. That will also affect the amount of torque you need. So it is just an important information to know in your mind that, okay, but I've said 10 and that's what we agreed on, but it's not going. But then you need to know that the birch is harder than this. What you'll end up having is that if you keep pushing it, the screw will just rotate and through the gripping
Strip the,
surface.
yeah.
So the gripping surface you had will be stripped and that screw will not work anymore. Because the head wants to sink, but the top is not enough. So it just circles on top and then it chews the thread. So that's also the other thing you need to be aware of. Then it will cause you to cheat, meaning you change the direction of the screw to create another hole. It may not be seen, but it's also not what we could be proud of. It's not the right way of doing it. It is just cheating. Wood is gracious, it allows us to do that, but we shouldn't. Yeah. So we all need to be aware of the use of the drill. There's a torque that you could adjust on this as well. This one already has a preset one. So if you cannot control your hand, stay away from this one because it also already has a preset torque. Should have it here. Okay, I'll find out. It's not written what it is.
I can check the documentation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think these ones would probably go to 35 or so, which is much more for what we need. But they are great because they are quick. So if yet you have not gotten used to, please stay away or else you'll have your screws go in like that. And if it has gone in like that and you're trying to push it out, pull it out to correct it, it won't hold as it would normally do, but it will also strip the top of this way. That's what it would do. Because then the head pushes up and messes your wood. And then you try to flush it. But you will have a surface that looks like that. I can take a sandpaper. But you see, you are actually adding more work to something that you could have avoided. And also the screw is no longer holding as it should because now it has a longer depth, but it's not covering that depth. Pulled it out. So a screw, ideally, you shouldn't push it in and pull it out. It's already messed up. So this is about how you use the drill, what tool on the drill is acceptable, the potty size type, the drill bit you use. I know sometimes you go on to where the drills sit and you only find this, it's a drill bit you can't use. Then you'll have the problem of a screw just circling but doesn't grip. So for a screw that is 3.5, what drill bit do you use? Okay, Lucas says 3. Okay, we all agree?
What is the
So
Now
you,
it depends on the.
so the screw is 3.5. The drill bit, Moses says it should be 3.5 as well.
yes, it's supposed to be 2.
There are two pre-drills we're talking about. Remember that the CNC provides the pre-drilled bolts. They are done with a 3mm bit. Yeah? The bolt is pre-drilled, which is not a factor, but the pine that mounts onto it is what would matter, what drill bit you use. If you are pre-drilling the the plank, it matters what size of a drill bit you use. Your screw will be 3.5, your drill bit cannot be 3.5. Because 3.5 is right on the thread end. So that screw is just gonna rotate because it has nowhere to grip. So you need something smaller than the screw. We need to then have a standard. If we cannot return them, we still need to use them.
Yes.
But then we use them differently.
Correct. We only just to have your agreement with everyone. If it's a 3.5, what is the ideal? Is it 2?
You could use a 2 or a 3.
Okay.
You want your screw to have the opportunity to grip properly.
You need to
So
have 3.
if you're gonna gamble with 0.5, it's also tight because some of the wood is also soft.
Yeah.
So 0.5 is
It's
like,
not going to make a big difference.
for me, I would say go for 2,
Okay.
and you at least have enough grip.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal.
2 sounds
to
good.
Keep standard as 2. Hey
Yeah,
guys.
because I mean we cannot always check, is this
It's
wood
two.
the soft one? Is it the hard one? you know, then so rather keep to 2 for 3.5.
Yeah.
So you use a 2 millimeter drill bit to put in a 3.5 screw. Yeah. And when you pre-drill, you don't have to pre-drill the whole length of the screw. You are kind of creating a pathway for it, so it could be even half of the screw, so that it just finds a straight through path which will not do this. Yep. Then lastly, we are all agreeing on the screw sitting flush with the wood, but not deep inside or like this.
Or raised.
With what we are using now, for example, these screws, we're having a lot of the problem like this one, where the head just sits above because it cannot go in anymore. Then our solution is either we've pre-drilled with a bigger drill bit. If we didn't pre-drill, the screw is too short, like the 20s that we use on the uprights. So that's also what we need to consider whether we use the 25s. Like now on the current production, we use 25s and it works perfect. So I didn't understand why it was 20 before instead of the 25s, which were always been problematic. So it's something to consider to change.
Yeah.
That we do 25s on all sliders and uprights to avoid the short.
Yeah.
The board, actually this one, we used to do the holes ourselves. So sometimes the hole will be here.
Yes. No,
Meaning
one,
that the screw
I
can
know.
go through and affect this. But now the CNC drills the hole, meaning that hole runs here. So let me show you. It runs here.
Oh,
It won't
okay,
affect the
yeah.
sliding.
Okay,
So
all right,
it's,
okay,
it
okay.
goes here. So you could actually even use a screw that's long up to here.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, as long as you.
But I wanted us to just agree on how to use this, what to use, as in the potty and the drill bit and the acceptable depth of the screw. That we are all keeping to standard, and also use this setting. It's there for a reason that we could set. 10 is safe, but you might need to go a little bit, maybe 12 or 15 is too much, and that's what it is. Then your screw will always sit flush.
So thanks, Fiona. Thanks, guys.